Welcome back. In this lecture, we'll try to understand Jürgen Habermas and his solution, his solution against legitimation crisis, his solution to avert legitimation crisis, and Habermas' contribution to theory of deliberative democracy. So, before starting Habermas, we must understand who was Habermas. Habermas, if you remember, is a neo-Marxist, right? He's a cultural Marxist. He belongs to Frankfurt School of Marxism. I will give you some background. These people focus on superstructure, right? If you remember Horkheimer, if you remember Theodor Adorno, and they analyze important impact of cultural factors on economy and life of normal people. So what what the idea essentially talks about is impact of cultural factors, impact of cultural factors on on uh, impact of cultural factors on lives of people, on like particularly lives of workers or middle class, right? Okay. So Habermas is very much democratic. He's a neo-Marxist. He gives a solution, while other neo-Marxist scholar are not so keen on giving solution. Uh, Habermas gives a solution, and 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 he is somewhat he has some acceptance of science and modernity, right? He even accepts capitalism in some capacity, right? This is Habermas. So who is Habermas? Habermas belongs to Frankfurt School of Marxism. He is a second generation scholar from Frankfurt School. After Adorno, after Althusser, after Theodor Adorno, Althusser, Horkheimer, right? After them, uh, the Habermas is the second generation scholar. So, in continuation with respect to, in continuation vis-a-vis deliberative democracy, we have to understand, Habermas, right? We were trying to understand deliberative democracy. What is deliberative democracy? Deliberative democracy is is a form of government, is a form of democracy where where deliberation is the way to get to decisions, right? Deliberation is the way. Habermas, in his book Legitimation Crisis, explained how in one line, if I have to explain, I will say this: welfare, nanny burdens itself, right? It crosses its capacity to do welfare, and and when it rolls back, when when state rolls back, when state rolls back, there are protests. This is the idea. There are protests. These protests are symbol of legitimation crisis, that people are not really giving their consent to be governed. What is legitimacy? Consent to be governed. and people have withdrawn their consent to be governed. Right? Right? This is the idea. What is legitimation crisis? What is legitimation crisis? If you forget all this, what is legitimation crisis? In one line, right? This was just the background as given by Habermas. But in context of this theory, what is legitimation crisis? What is legitimation crisis? Legitimation crisis is nothing but lack of consent to be governed, or withdrawal of consent to be governed. Withdrawal of consent to be governed. Right? This is the idea. Withdrawal of consent to be governed. In solution with respect to legitimation crisis, what solution he gives? It, Habermas, another background of Habermas, that he is a proponent of grassroots democracy. He is a proponent of grassroots democracy. The solution that Habermas gives for averting legitimation crisis is number one, grassroots democracy, and he suggests engagement and and revitalization of public sphere. Right, I will write this in the next page so that you are able to connect it better. So what solution Habermas gives is grassroots democracy, engagement among people with the people, and revitalization of public sphere. Revitalization of public sphere. Public sphere. This public sphere for Habermas is political sphere. Right? Keep this in mind. Understanding Habermas becomes very crucial by making this mental note in your mind that public sphere means political sphere. Keep this in mind for next 10 minutes that public sphere means political sphere. Right? You have keep this in mind. I will go ahead. Public sphere is political sphere. Oh, okay. Keep this in mind. I am telling you again and again to keep this in mind, and I will explain right now. So Habermas started his theory, and Habermas started giving solution for legitimation crisis by this concept of colonization of life world. What is colonization? Colonization is to have control over, right? Is to have exploitative control over. To explain life world, to explain life world, he does a comparative analysis, and we will understand both the same way. He does a comparative analysis between social system and life world. Social system and life world. Social system and life world. I will start with an example, then there after that you will be able to connect it better with whatever I am saying. Social system, I'll start with example of a office space. You are working in an office Let's say you are a lawyer. Office space, you are a lawyer and you are a corporate lawyer. Social system, you are a corporate lawyer. You are working in a office space, right? Economic sphere, right? This is economic sphere. What is the issue with economic sphere? What is the issue with professional sphere or administrative sphere? That your true self, your true self is not visible at all, right? Your true views about things, your true ideas about things are not visible at all, right? What you think about, right? What you think about some really important issues like religion, like caste, like class, you're not really sure. You're not really sure if you can say the real, the real uh, views on these controversial topics, right? You're not really sure in a social system, which is economic sphere, like administrative or professional sphere. So if you're not sure about the controversial topics and you cannot speak your mind with respect to political sphere in these situations, if you're not able to speak your mind with respect to political situations, with respect to political situation in these in these situation, then this is not a free political space to speak about. This is not political sphere, and this is not political sphere because your true self, this is a private sphere, right? This is a private sphere. What does it mean by private sphere here? That your true thoughts about controversial topics, about political topics, are kept in private. You are not freely speaking about them, right? This is the idea behind social system. What is a social system? Social system is thus is an economic sphere. It is an economic sphere where you are not able to freely speak your mind. When you are not freely speak, when you are not able to freely speak your mind, then it is not a political sphere. Your true political views are not being expressed, but it is a private sphere where your true political ideas, your true political views are in private sphere, right? Life world, on the other hand, right? I will again start with an example. We'll go with in the opposite direction. Let's say I am in family gathering. I am in family gathering, right? If you are in family gathering, your cousins are there, your whole family is there, right? In this situation, some drunk uncle starts speaking about how how let's say Congress Congress has done so much about India, so much with India. They have built IITs, they have built JNU, they have built AIMS, and they have started with all the development, right? Indira Gandhi won the war, and LPG revolution they brought, and all those things. One drunkard uncle starts spewing all those things, right? How Congress has developed India so much. On the other hand, there comes one Buaji who is also very drunk and starts speaking how BJP has done so well for India, right? Post 2014, she says that there has been enormous development in India. We have seen unprecedented level of road making. We have seen unprecedented level of development. Global our global standing has gotten so much better. She will also say that day by day new IITs are coming. Day by day, our GDP is increasing. We are in a very good position. The third drunkard Nanaji, he starts talking about how well AAP has done, right? Right. This debate is free. This debate is as free as it can be because one can say whatever one want to say without any fear of repercussions. There are no repercussions in this situation, right? There are no repercussions in this situation. In in this situation, I am freely able to speak my political mind, right? Whether you like it or not, in professional situation, in formal situation, you cannot really speak about you cannot really speak whatever you want to say. But in situations where where everyone around you is very close to you, then you can say whatever you want to say. If you have a family gathering going on, anyone from in that family gathering specifically stressing on political mind. So if I am able to freely speak on political issues in this situation, then what is political sphere? This is political sphere. This is political sphere. This is political sphere. Right? What Habermas does very smartly, he makes the distinction between social system and life world with respect to how freely I am able to speak my mind about political systems or about politics in general. That is why life world is sphere of freedom. It is sphere of freedom, right? Life world is sphere of freedom, and he says that, but presently, life world has been colonized by social system. What does this mean? This means that economic sphere is more important than political sphere for us, right? Economy, income is more important than speaking your mind freely for us. That is the idea behind it, right? And he says that if life world has been colonized, what should be the solution? If life world has been colonized by a social system, if life world has lost its control, lost its control, then what is the solution? The solution lies in making making public sphere free, making life world free from clutches of social system, from economic sphere. Political sphere need to be freed from economic sphere. life world need to be free from social system. That is the idea. So as we were saying, uh, the the life world has been colonized by social system, right? The life world has been colonized by social system. So to make public spheres free, to make to make life world free, what solution does Habermas gives? He gives solution of communicative action. To understand communicative action, we have to understand types of action, categorization of action with respect to public sphere and private sphere, political sphere and private sphere, day-to-day experience and economic sphere. We have to see the difference of spheres and action we take in those spheres, right? So social system is formal, is professional, and is economic. Social system is formal, professional, economic. It is a private sphere, right? It is a private sphere. How is social system? It is formal, it is professional, it is economic, and and being the professional sphere, it is being the economic sphere, it is. We take action in these spheres. We take action in these spheres to get something, right? There is some sort of instrumentality attached to it. What is instrumentality? What is instrumentality? We use an instrument to get some of our work done, right? Instrument has teleology, it has final cause. There is a purpose with which we use an instrument. So what Habermas says, action in social system, action in economic sphere is like an instrument to get to some goal. It is like an instrument to get to some goal, to achieve some goal, which can be economic, which can be political, but which has to be professional. Which has to be professional. That is the idea, right? So there is some sort of instrumental rationality attached to action we take in social system, right? Which has a end goal. Like this pen, it is an instrument of which teleology, of which final cause is writing. It is to write. It is used for writing, right? The same way this pen has a teleology, a final cause, a purpose of writing. In the same way, we use action in social system as a strategy, as an instrument to achieve some goal. We use strategic action to achieve some goal, right? Let's suppose I am in a office and I am working hard there. I am doing office politics. I am trying to do everything in my strength to get that promotion. So whatever I do in an office, it has purpose of promotion. So it is going to be strategic action. It is going to be economic action, right? Suppose I trade in stock market. Trading in stock market has final cause of earning money. Trading in stock market is done with strategy. It is a strategic action to get something, to achieve something, right? It is done in social system. So keep one thing in mind. What is it with strategic action? Number one, it has end goal, it has purpose, it has teleology, and it has some instrumentality attached to it. This action is just an instrument to get something. It is just an instrument to get something, right? So strategic action is action that we perform in social system. in economic sphere, in professional sphere. On the other hand, in life world, the sphere which is informal, the sphere which is informal, which is day to day, and it is which is professional sphere, life world. In life world, the type of action we do is communicative action, right? Communicative action, right? So what is a communicative action? To explain you in as simple words as possible, let's suppose you are you are you are a UPSC aspirant. You study in ORN, you study in Delhi ORN, you study in Jaipur, in Hyderabad, in Indore, in Pune, in any state, in anywhere, right? Suppose you go to X class and your class gets finished, and some of your 4 5 friends, they say let's go to have a coffee, right? You go to have a coffee, you are one of them 4 5 friends, you have good social life, you go to get a coffee, and what happens is there starts a discussion on regionalism, right? Of these 4 5 persons, everyone is from different region. One is from west, one is from extreme north, one is from the northeast, right? Four 5 people, 5 different perspectives on regionalism, right? 5 people, 5 different perspectives on was not preconceived. For these 4 people, 5 people did not go to that cafe to that cafe to have discussion on regionalism. That their original intention was to get quality that day. They had studied economy that day. Some person of the 4 5 person just start talking about regionalism. 5 perspectives, all this they all start talking about regionalism. अच्छा, right? मेरी आवाज बहुत ही बेकार आ रही है क्या? इज इट टू बैड? अभी ठीक है? अभी ठीक है? क्योंकि मैंने फोन मेरा बाहर रख दिया, अभी मतलब बैल्कनी में रख दिया, तो मतलब यहाँ पे जो है हीरा का लैपटॉप, वहां पे तो ठीक आ रहा है सब कुछ। ठीक है, मैं फिर से शुरू करूँ? फिर से पूरा बताओ। समझ गया तेरे को कि व्हाट आई एम ट्राइंग टू से? रीजनलिज्म पे बात चल रही, 5 लोगों ने बात करना शुरू की। 5 different people, 5 different perspectives, all these people start talking about regionalism, right? They did not have the original intention of talking about regionalism. They started with the intention of having a just a coffee and going about their day, right? 5 different people, 5 different perspectives, they all start talking about regionalism, right? One person says that regionalism is a myth. That person is of course from the middle of India. One person say that regionalism has to be there. There is discussion, there is development because of it. Some person say regionalism is bad because it leads to secessionist tendencies, right? Some people don't have any view about it. That person just say that I am trying to learn from your discussion. 5 different perspectives, they all start talking about regionalism, and when they leave the coffee shop, every one of them is more aware about regionalism as an issue, right? Awareness has increased. right? They all give their perspectives, and effectively they realize regionalism is a necessary evil. It is needed for development, but it should not lead to secessionism, right? They all agree on that and they go about that day. So what happened in communicative action, right? What happened in communicative action is they communicated without any preconceived notions, and and they 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 achieved knowledge and idea about the topic which they were not really aware with respect to perspectives of other people, right? They are rich in perspective after that half an hour discussion, right? Right. So what do you understand by communicative action? Talking to each other, chilling with friends, talking about all different perspectives in life. The same discussion can happen about, let's say, women, right? Let's say reservation, let's say religion, or even as simple as a movie Dhurandhar, right? The politics of it, politics of some comedian, right? Right? When this discussion happen, your analytical richness increases, your perspective on life, your perspective on world eventually gets better. This is the idea about communicative action. This action which is performed in life world, which is performed in life world. This is the idea behind communicative action, right? It is like open-ended discussions, right? I have a brother, I have an elder brother, and we used to talk about everything and anything under the sun. Right? He just used to bring up the topic of who is better or who was greater, Gandhi or Bose. I was always with the side of Gandhi. He was always with the side of Bose. Right? But when we ended with that discussion, even with flared up noses, even with some sort of anger towards each other, but we were learned, we were at least aware about each other perspectives, right? This is what communicative action is. Nobody starts with preconceived notion. You just have you just have discussion with your friends, with discussion with your families, right? This is communicative action, this is concept of communicative action, right? Okay, right. uh, so what is communicative action? Communicative action is all about speaking with everyone, just having open-ended discussions, with just chit chatting, just chilling with your friends, right? It can be about anything. I gave you example of regionalism. It can be about anything as simple as a movie, right? That is just communicative action. So communicative action for Habermas is is the idea which is going to help us do deliberative democracy, help us get to deliberative democracy. And he says best case scenario for communicative action to happen is ideal speech situation. Best case scenario for communicative action to happen is ideal speech situation, right? He says that communicative action in ideal speech situation help us arrive at decisions acceptable to all. Communicative action in ideal speech situation help us arrive at decision acceptable to all. What is ideal speech situation? What is ideal speech situation? Ideal speech situation is number one. It is recognition of others' freedom of speech and expression. Right? Recognition of others' freedom of speech and expression, as was explained by Mill. There is Isaiah Berlin, right? There is Hannah Arendt as well, right? And and the second precondition for ideal speech situation, or what is ideal speech situation? It is decision making only by open dialogue. This idea that decision making should be done only by open dialogue later led to discourse ethics. Right? What is ideal speech situation? Number one, absolute freedom of speech and expression, tolerance to freedom of speech and expression, and decisions only through open dialogue. This decision only through open dialogue led to discourse ethics, and discourse ethics is very closely related to deliberative democracy. The idea of discourse ethics was further expanded by people like Amy Gutman and Dennis Thompson, right? For Amy Gutman and Dennis Thompson, it is it, discursive ethics or open dialogue is very necessary. Freedom of speech and expression is very necessary for justification of decisions. For justification of decisions. What they are basically saying that freedom of speech and expression is necessary. Right? The second proponents of open dialogue discursive ethics is Carol Patman, Nancy Fraser, and Thomas Fishkin. All these people gave theories of deliberative democracy. All these people gave theories of deliberative democracy, but the real idea, the real detailing was done by this person called Joshua Cohen. Joshua Cohen, in his book Deliberation and Democratic Legislation, Deliberation and Democratic Legislation, Deliberation and Democratic Legislation, right? And he gives five principles of deliberative democracy. The first principle, the first principle is, of course, having regular discussions, right? Having regular discussions, deliberation, having association with fellow fellow beings in your society, right? Fellow society members, having you have to be associated with them. Then he says that the second principle of deliberative democracy, that deliberation is only source of legitimacy, right? Only deliberation will lead to legitimacy. What does this mean? This means that only reasonable action, only reasonable, the only most reasonable decision will be uh, will be allowed to take place, right? Third principle is deliberation is only deciding factor. The fourth principle, right, is only force is of rational argument. All of them mean more or less the same thing, right? The fifth, the fifth principle is, right, uh, plural view, plural view should be allowed in the society. Plural view should be allowed in the society. There should be recognition of deliberation and and capacity of plural views. These are five principles of of a deliberative democracy, right? Before all of these things, before communicative action, before ideal speech situation, we started with the concept of colonization of life world, right? Colonization of life world, which is life world was colonized by public sphere, was colonized by social system, right? Social system. Going ahead, going ahead, Habermas gives his another concept of refeudalization, refeudalization of public sphere, refeudalization of public sphere. And he observes and he says that that the public spheres, right, public spheres were originally controlled by kings and lords, right? Public sphere originally controlled by kings and lords, right? This he explained in the concept of West, right? This he explained in the in with reference to West, right? Kings and lords were controlling public sphere, right? In kings darbar or king's court, all the discussions were happening, right? Common man was not as involved in affairs of state. Man was not as involved in affairs of state, right? So even in India, you see examples like Diwan A Am or Diwan A Khas. So the discussion, whether it be with common people, whether it be with the ministry, it was with approval of king. Diwan Am, Diwan Khas was used by people like Akbar, right? It was under king. But what happened? What happened in, let's say, 1800s, in 1900s, right? In 1800s, we are seeing this in context of Europe. In 1800s, what happened? In 1700s, right? 1700s, 1800s, what happened? 1700s, 1800s, what happened? That that salons salons were becoming very frequent. What is a salon, right? It is not really the hair salon that I am talking about, right? It is not hair salon, but salon is a place. It is a place to hang out with your friends and have a beer or two, have whiskey, have fun, just chill. It is a place to chill. Salon is a place to chill. So I will give you some background of American Revolution. In 1776, American Revolution happens. Even before that, the real planning of the revolution, the Boston Tea Party, all those things happened in salons. right? People used to come together, they used to chill, they used to have whiskey, they used to have rum, they used to have beer, then they just used to chill. And the real planning of American Revolution really happened in salons, right? So what Habermas is trying to say, the the public sphere, which was controlled by kings and lord, it gradually it got democratized. When it got democratized, when it got democratized, it democratized happened through salons, right? Salons were one of the instruments of democratization. Other instrument was newspapers. Newspapers, even not newspapers, but printed media. Printing was right, developed a lot. matlab, the development of printing happened really fast. So printed media, right? Then uh, songs and all those things, right? Even songs, right? Wrestling matches, right? In all these things, through all these things where people come to enjoy, people come to entertain themselves, revolutionary ideas were given. In this public sphere, revolutionary ideas were pumped out, right? The public sphere, which was originally controlled by kings and lords, it eventually got democratized through salons, through printed media, through songs. And really, where the American Revolution happened, it was through salons, printed media, and songs, right? So democratization led to revolutions. If you have gone through your world history, right? If you have gone through your world history, and if you have understood French Revolution, right? Whenever you are going to understand French Revolution, you will come to a point where you realize these are very common man. These were very common man. The person who wrote about French Revolution, he died. He died with a suicide. He drank too much whiskey, uh, cut his veins. But he was a very common person, right? He used to write. He used to chill. French revolutionaries were not allowed to talk to each other, so they went on tennis court. They went on tennis court. They had a discussion there, and they overthrew the king, right? So the real discussion happened in these public places. That is what Habermas is trying to say. A democratization of public sphere led to revolutions. But recently, public sphere or media is controlled by bourgeoisie, right? It is controlled by bourgeoisie. It is controlled by elite. It is controlled by powerful, right? So the discussion is controlled by bourgeoisie, controlled by elite, controlled by powerful. So what he say, that there is refeudalization of public sphere. There is refeudalization of public sphere. I hope you understand this. I hope you understood this. There is refeudalization of public sphere. What is feudal? Feudal, again, lord, serf. We are serfs, we are slaves of the lords who control media. This is the idea. I hope you understood Habermas, right? I hope you understood Habermas. To give you example, I will give you example to make you understand what is refeudalization mean. Right? There are 4 or 5 news channel in America. Fox News is there. There is CNBC. There is ABC News. Right? There are 2 4 news outlets also there. There is Onion News as well. Right? Onion News, some sarcasm, but still. Uh, so Fox is Fox, right? There is also new age media like Facebook is there, right? Meta is there. There is Twitter as well, or X. So Fox is owned by wealthy billionaires, These wealthy billionaires gave a lot of money to Trump. Trump Trump gives some money to Fox, and Fox runs good news on Trump. Right? CNBC is owned by some Democrats, so they have their friends there. Again, ABC is run by Democrats. Meta is owned by Zuckerberg. Zuckerberg is on the side of Democrats. He's opportunist, but still, right? X is owned by Elon Musk. Right? He had good rapport with the Trump. Right? Mr. Trump, he had good rapport with Trump, but right now they are not in a good situation. What I'm trying to say that all this news media, none of them are really free, right? What you can say, what you cannot say, there is limitation to that. You cannot say anything and everything on these social media platforms. They are more or less controlled. This is the idea of refeudalization of public sphere, which is again feudals or feudals like bourgeoisie control the media, which limits scope of discussion. This is the idea as was explained by Habermas. I hope you understood Habermas and his connection to deliberative democracy. From the next lecture, we'll start with Substantive Theory of Democracy by C.B. Macpherson. I hope this helped. Right, we'll continue from the next lecture. Thank you so much. Bye bye.